Yes.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, awesome.
There we go.
Wicked.
Yeah.
I love you. You got the red microphone again. I
Yeah.
haven't seen that in a while.
There you go. Yeah. I don't have the setup you have, but I'm doing all right.
Yeah, and we're not as drunk, but with that red microphone's bringing back some bad memories and good memories and all that's in between, Sammy. Nice to see you, though.
Yo. Welcome to my summer lair. I'm your MC, Sammy. Talk hard, Yunan. I'm gonna keep this introduction brief as Sean will properly introduce himself and his fresh-tastic podcast, The Creative Imbalance. Dude just hit a milestone of 150 episodes, though as he'll share his journey, there are clearly more than 150 episodes. This is a remarkable achievement because so many start a podcast and, well, they don't finish a podcast. I don't know how else to put it. Like, the technical term is pod fade. This typically means with less than 10 episodes, a podcast just abruptly stops issuing new episodes. Basically, somebody gives up. If we're being honest, iTunes is just a podcast graveyard, a memorial of shattered dreams. It is a lot of work to craft a podcast. The classic war of attrition. And despite that long, hard war, Sean is still standing, still smiling, and still seeking growth. He and I used to record in a bar in downtown Toronto, the Pacific Junction Hotel Bar. And we've since transitioned into new formats and new styles while still having old fun. As you'll hear, Sean is good with the technical EQ and the emotional IQ, which makes him a truly special, if not quirky, podcast host. Here, listen to this, and you'll know exactly what I mean. It has been a long time, Sean. Time has no meaning anymore now because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So, like, I'll be thinking of somebody. I'm like, I should email them and see how they're doing, and then like a month will go by. I'm like, oh snap.
Yeah, I agree too. Actually, on the weekend, I saw Mel, who's the person who introduced me to you, and she was like, "Oh, have you talked to Sammy lately?" And I'm like, "No, actually." And then I felt bad,
Yeah.
and then literally, man, like one day later, you emailed me asking to do this. I was like, "Oh, cool."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it was in the stars. I was either gonna reach out because of feeling guilty,
Mm-hmm.
but then you beat me to the punch, so it's cool.
Yeah. How is Mighty Mel doing and the kids?
Oh, she's doing really, really well. It was awesome. It was a mutual friend. Actually, you met him, and he was on your show at Joe Cash. It was his
Oh
birthday.
yeah, the music guy.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. The guitar guy. He's
Mm-hmm.
been. So he had a little birthday in the park, and Mel and her man Philly.
Mm-hmm.
They had a little break from the kids in the afternoon, pawned them off to the parents. So we had
Good
a couple
job.
beers in a park, and yeah, it was nice to catch up with them too, because I haven't seen her or even to probably talk to her since like I've talked to you too. It's been a
Yeah, yeah.
while since the world has I don't know, came together,
Stop
and
spinning.
we all went on our side quests, and like and I like you catch up with people and like everything's changed, and or some people just hibernated, and I don't know, it's been weird times, and I feel like I'm still trying to process everything that's happened.
Yeah, there's some people where like you can't do any small talk with them because they haven't done anything for like 2 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's gone anywhere or like randomly met a celebrity or like found $20 on the floor. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, small talk is dead.
Yeah.
Or the opposite, where people were just hibernated and they changed their entire life. So it's not like you to catch up, it's gonna take like 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's crazy.
All right. You want to get this party started?
I'm down whenever you're ready, Sammy.
All right. We got to start off with congratulations because you just posted your 150th episode.
Yeah, you're on the ball. That was literally like 5 minutes ago, Sammy. So
Yeah.
you've been creeping the socials. Like,
I
look how
did.
prepared this man is of this interview.
I spent like 5 minutes on social on Lair. I got
Yeah.
the gist of
Do you,
it.
yeah, yeah. Do you have like a ticker of every time I do something, take a shit, it just pops up.
Yeah.
Sean did this. No, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So 150 is good. Like, how do you feel? Do you feel like you've accomplished something, or like your life has meaning, or how do you?
No. Actually, you know what? I I am proud of it. I had this conversation with somebody a few weeks ago where I'm always such a forward thinker. I don't step back and celebrate little small victories here and there. But now I'm getting a little more conscious of being proud of my legacy because it goes beyond the podcast itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of being involved with like a lot of special communities. And very long story short, it's like I never planned on making a podcast or getting into radio or something like that. It's just how I fell into like life. It made sense
Mm-hmm.
to create the creative imbalance and tell people stories of just people in the artist communities around me, of stories that haven't been told really, that are extra special. And you know, Sammy, and you're somebody who helped me and really put me on and gave me a platform for a good few years. And you've seen like some growth where it started off like just having my friends and community in the studio, and then it turns into a special thing where I'm getting hit up, not even reaching out for these interviews. And I'm looking at my email. I'm like, oh my God, I'm a fan of this person. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is so cool. It's like this crazy blessing. So to look at the 150th, and it goes beyond that. There was a I did like a little trial and error pilot show. So there's more than 150 episodes. There's some we did in the bar that I couldn't post. There's probably 200 episodes, and there's like 39 one we were just too drunk because the studio was in the bar, and I'm like, oh, we shouldn't post that one. But yeah, I'm beyond jokes aside, I'm very very proud of the legacy and the journey it's brought me. And right now I've been very introspective, and I'm thinking of the next step to make it grow. And yeah, it's exciting in unknown times.
So let's stick with introspection and introduce yourself. You already mentioned the show Creative Imbalance, but just give us like an elevator pitch of kind of what this crazy show is and who are the type of guests you have. So introduce your name, the show, and then because you're a metalhead, tell me a couple of like your favorite metal bands.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, that's a few questions in one. This
Yeah.
this should keep me talking for a bit.
Yeah, I'm just
Good
gonna go make
interview skills.
yeah, I'm gonna go make a
Yeah,
sandwich
yeah,
now. You just do the
yeah.
work. I'm done now.
Yeah, yeah.
2 minutes on
That's
social, one question, and I'm out.
brother, that's genius. I got to take that move for my own show. But yeah, for people who don't know, my name is Sean Sirianni. And very long story short, like I did tell you guys about the Creative Imbalance podcast, and I did mention that I never wanted to be a podcaster. It's something that just happened. But I always, like growing up, loved interviews and candid stuff. And back in the day, it was more rare to hear stuff like that. I used to like watch Much Music a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
with your buddy George Strombolopoulos too. And
Is he your friend now too?
I wonder if he remembers me. We had a couple of talks, and he's been on the show, but but yeah, you're homie. But I used to grow up watching him, and I used to tune into like Howard Stern when I was way too young to listen to that. And I just always like just the candidness of behind the scenes and seeing musicians and artists like portrayed like real people.
Mm-hmm.
But like I mentioned, like back in the day, it was very rare, and there's a couple people I gravitated to, like some segments on Much Music, like the new music, and even how George would have a band on Much Loud, which connects to your metal question. Was like, oh my God, it's like I only see these people in these music videos and they look all mean and scary, and I'm like, oh, this is actually just a great guy. And like, I don't know, that always fascinated me. And I guess that was like a little seed in my brain. But again, I never thought to pursue um, radio, or even I wasn't even thinking media in general. But long story short, like I was just an all over the place creative kid growing up. And when it came time to go to college, I know I wanted to leave my hometown of Niagara Falls, just and more not even because I knew what I wanted to do. I just wanted to party. And all my buddies were they went to Mohawk College in Hamilton. I was looking through the courses. I'm like, oh, is there some kind of like television or art or something like that? And I found creative advertising, and I was like, oh, this is cool. This is something I can take and maybe have fun, but also at the end, like not piss off my parents, be like, hey, it's like you can get a job from here. And I used to be very mindful of what other people thought of me instead of really going for what I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't know. I think I would have done something ridiculous. Like, you know, I probably would have went film or, but another long story short, during the advertising program, there was one day we learned Final Cut Pro, and the teacher let us rent out these cameras from the school, and we just had a competition who can make the most viral video. And it was just like, once I learned how to use the cut button and picked up a camera, it was like I derailed advertising so much. I just kept renting out this camera. Me and my buddies were making comedy skits, and I didn't even realize I had a knack for film and like comedic timing with film until we did this viral video thing. So shout out to my old professor Raph, because this project changed my life. And I basically did a kind of like I kind of ripped off like The Lonely Island at the time. Andy Samberg, he used to do all these different
I'm on a
different
boat.
on a boat, all those skits. But what I ripped off was he did one with Natalie Portman, the Natalie Portman rap, where she's the good girl gone bad type thing.
Yeah.
And so at the time, I had long hair and a clean shaven face, and everywhere I go, people would say, "You look like Josh Groban, Josh Groban." So I did my viral video was I just called it Josh fucking Groban. You can't find it on the internet anymore because as this was like in '08, and I feel like the climate has changed so much, and and just like what's acceptable as comedy, but it's like there's lines in it that were funny back then, and now I'm just like, oh, like this could get me in trouble.
Can you hear me? Seem to be freezing.
Okay, shoot. I don't know why that's doing that. Let's try again.
Okay.
Okay.
So there was lines
Yeah.
you had to take out of, or you didn't feel comfortable with Josh Groban that would like stand the test of time.
Yeah. So you can't find that video anymore, but that video made me realize the power of the camera, even like the power of just having fun and making something special. Because I didn't realize what would happen, because I kind of won like viral competition, and it was within my classroom. But a year later, like I forget about this video. He starts using it as an example for his other classes. And I remember just going to like the college pub one night, and this gang of girls ran up to me, and they were just like, Josh fucking Groban, Josh. And I was just like kind of like shy, awkward. I'm still shy and awkward, but I was just like, oh my God. And my buddies who knew what the video was are just like, yeah, I know Josh Groban. And we're just dancing with all these girls and stuff. And I'm like, yo, I got to pursue this stuff. But again, so I mentioned I kept playing with the camera over and over and over. And then my one buddy, he moved to Toronto, and he made a website that doesn't exist anymore. It was called Tunes and TO. And he started getting into music media. And another long story short, he needed a camera guy and knew I still had access at school. So he's like, hey, Sean, can you rent out a camera? And I'm going to interview Shad K, hip hop legend in Canada. And you can shoot a bit of a show if you want. I'm like, oh, that's cool. It's a little fun adventure. So this is my first time being around a quote unquote celebrity. And I filmed the interview. And then another magic happened where I'm filming, and at the end of the show, Shad brings up a band that opened for him called Grand Analog, and they're together. They got the band playing, and Shad and the MC from that band, they're just freestyling like crazy, and they're rocking the crowd. And then they see me in the crowd with the camera, and they pull me on stage. So I'm up there with the camera.
Yo.
Oh no, am I back?
Yeah.
Yo, I don't know why this isn't happening. I paid the internet bill. So I'm back now. All right, all
Yeah.
right. Yeah, sorry about this shit, man.
No worries.
Okay. I think we're good now.
All right.
I feel bad. This is gonna be a bitch to edit. You got a little puzzle to do.
Yeah. We'll have to figure it out. But so the Shad pulls you up on stage.
Yeah, he pulls me up on stage and he starts freestyling about me, and I'm just like, oh my god. And I remember what he said. He's like, he's like, he said something like, he's my man. He ain't no amateur. Make some noise for the camera. And the crowd is like, ah. And in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so amateur. This is the first thing I've ever recorded live.
Yeah.
And again, it was another moment like the viral video where I'm like, oh, there's power into like doing this media. It just connected me with like one of these artists I like listened to for years. And then with that website, Tunes and To, again, I started off interviewing bands that were way out of my league because my buddy was more into like hip hop and indie rock, and then he'd get these hit up from publicists from like all these metal bands from like Sweden and stuff like that. And he's just like, Sean, you like metal? Have you heard of these guys? And I'm like, oh my god, yes. Why? He's like, oh, you want to talk to him tomorrow? I was like, oh. And I was doing like these interviews, and I can't even listen to him now. Like I'd cringe so bad, but I just remember being so nervous and such a fanboy. But it was an amazing experience of just I don't know, being scared and learning the craft on the fly. And almost like as you keep doing things and making mistakes, you realize what you shouldn't do next time. And again, I wasn't trying to make a podcast. I wasn't trying to be an interviewer. This is how just life's throwing me around. And so I keep doing this just to get into free shows and meet all my heroes. And again, down the road, I met King of the Dot Battle Rap League. And I started doing little mini documentaries around them and some other artists I met in Toronto, from like rappers and folk singers and stuff like that. And King of the Dot also helped me sharpen my sword too, because one of their camera guys didn't show up. And after the battle raps, they would have like a guy kind of like Joe Rogan talk to everybody, like, oh, what happened in the battle? Talk to all the judges and stuff like that. And again, it's another moment. It's like, oh, Sean has a camera, you do this. And then from doing that, like every month, interviewing like 20 people a day, again, it's just sharpening the sword, blah, blah, blah. And like I mentioned on the side, I was doing all these mini documentaries. And I thought with my life, what I wanted to be was a documentary filmmaker. And I realized like there's all these awesome stories around me, but to capture them in a film like way and just like on camera, you literally have to follow somebody around all the time. It's exhausting.
It takes years sometimes.
It takes years, yeah. And my whole community is indie artists, so there's no money. And like I'm just like in a mode where like I don't know what to do. And so I was experimenting with that here and there. And then a couple of years of doing that, King of the Dot, freelance video, doing music videos and filming comedy sets. Like I filmed pro wrestling. Like I'm filming like all these different scenes. And then I had an epiphany, and it was around the time where I had a moment where I'm like, I need to make a project for myself. I'm just following everybody else's, I don't know, vision in a way, you know? And it's like I could be creative, but I had to be confined to their rules or whatever. And Sean just needed to do his own thing. So connecting to wanting to tell stories, it just sparked. I'm like, yo, I should make a podcast because I'm a fan of podcasts, and that's what I've been consuming. And I'm like, let's just do this. I'm gonna take my recorder. I'm not even gonna have the video with it. And I'm going to call up the most interesting person I know, and that's going to be episode 1. So my pal, my mentor Supreme, he met me in a park, and he is a rapper and a porn star. And I'm like, this is how I want my show to start, Sammy. And
Josh Groban.
And Josh, yeah, I had the Josh Groban fire again. And and yeah, that was the beginning seed of the podcast, and it turned into a beautiful adventure in my life.
So I want to stay with this thread of the telling you stories and starting this podcast. How do you start these conversations? You've done 150 plus of these conversations. How do you start them? Like, do you work on the opening question? Do you try to do something easy? Do you try something hard? I give you a packed opening question.
Yeah.
How do you get this conversation started?
Yeah, I love your style, Sammy, with the packed question. But I used to write out tons of questions, and I noticed that earlier on, like I felt a little robotic, you know. And after time, I kind of learned how to make interview sound like a conversation, like a natural conversation, even if I'm just meeting the person for the first time at that moment. But throughout the natural conversation, to ask the questions that need to be asked, to hit key points of whatever they're promoting, and also be a good listener. And if they say something interesting, be like, oh, how can we build on this, and build a question on that. But usually, like, if you listen to the episode I posted today with Robert Watson, who's a comedian, it starts off, the Zoom popped on. I had record already playing, and it's just like, hey man, great to meet you. And it's like, oh, you too, and blah blah blah. And just, it starts off with a little small talk. And I remember just segueing, and so saying, oh, so obviously comedy is just such a big part of your identity nowadays. I just kind of want to go back in time and just learn about you, like almost like if you were to meet somebody for the first time. And I'm kind of cognizant of, if my listeners don't know who the guest is, to kind of get them to tell their story in a very natural, comfortable way. And it's almost like, it's cool that you asked me this question, because it's became such a part of my style that I don't even think about it anymore. It's just like I hit the button and something happens. Like I just start rolling in a way where before maybe I would be nervous, like back in the day of like, oh, what's my opener going to be type of thing. And now it's like, I don't have an opener. I have these 30 bullet points in my mind, and we're just going to flow with whatever makes sense. And yeah, it's very hard to break down, because it seems very unconscious nowadays. But I think that's with anything. If you're putting in that many hours, like if you see like guitar players who can just rip a solo out of nowhere, if you see like an amazing comedian live, yeah, it's I don't know, it's just becoming a professional at your craft in a way.
What you're talking about sounds like a first date, like a good first date, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where somebody
Yeah.
you meet somebody, maybe it's a blind date or a friend arranged it or something, or you got desperate and went on Tinder. But you meet somebody for the first time, and you want them to feel safe enough to tell you a couple of stories, maybe a secret or two, have a couple of laughs, and then go home and feel good.
Yeah, yeah. You know what's crazy too? I wouldn't say like I'm not an awkward guy anymore. I'm still a little awkward, but
Yeah.
I noticed post pandemic. So throughout the pandemic, I've been doing this podcast or whatever. And then the other day, I was just at a party, and I was talking to like all these really pretty girls. Like, to people listening, I am single, so it's like it's cool, it's cool. And I'm just like,
We'll give
I'm
out the
chilling,
socials
and
at the end.
yeah, yeah. And I wasn't I wasn't like even thinking, but I was just like in a nice flow with this conversation with this very pretty girl. We got a couple drinks in us, and then all of a sudden we're just making out. And I was like, how did I segue to that? And like it was almost like I was like in the same flow of my brain as when I'm like doing a podcast, just unconsciously trying to make the best conversation happen in a way and make some magic or whatever you're trying to get out of it. But instead of learning something about my guests, I was like trying to move in on the kiss. And then I think about it, and I'm like, I don't even know how I segued into that. It just happened. So I don't know if somebody needs to like work on like their social skills, or they have trouble like talking to women or whatever, start a podcast and just do a lot of them. And it's just gonna, I don't know, sharpen your natural social skills in a way.
Isn't that kind of funny? Because like you said, you started your podcast and you want to let your friends shine. You want to give them a
Yeah.
platform, and like this would be great. You can kind of talk about your things and your music, or your beatboxing or whatever it is, and you want to give them a platform, but then you 150 episodes later take away like, oh, I learned all these things. I'm a better Sean than I was when I started.
Yeah, that's true too. And that's something I gotta keep in mind. That's cool that you mentioned that as well, because again, it's like the creation of the creative imbalance, it was a very unselfish thing. I'm like, I want to tell these stories, but yeah, at the end of it, I feel like I'm getting so much in a selfish way, just from just being able to have wicked conversations with people I'm fans of, and also the self growth. And sometimes there's even more self growth than I even realize. And then all of a sudden I'm in a situation, I'm just like, oh man, that's directly from just working on the podcast every day. And that's growth has been in my mind a lot lately, especially in the last 2 weeks. I had a bit of downtime. I recorded some episodes and then I kind of went in like a little burnout drought or whatever. And I was kind of like, I don't know the word for it, kind of moping around the house, like
Mm-hmm.
thinking and sometimes overthinking. But one thing that kind of got me out of the route or the rut was thinking about what I have right now and where it can lead. And now I'm trying to almost take it to the next destination, if that makes sense. And it kind of set a little fire in my heart and spirit, where when things just started feeling monotonous about the whole picture, it's just like, oh, okay, I'm just doing this cycle and everything's just kind of plateaued. I'm just like, kind of look at everything in the third person and being like, okay, like let's take this to another level. And yeah, that's been on my mind in the past few days. And I'm glad you're interviewing me now and not like a week ago, or I would just be like Debbie Downer mode. But this week I'm like, yeah, let's go, let's podcast, yeah,
Yeah.
baby.
Which is funny too because you've had a couple of guests I can think of at least where they focus on like yoga or meditation or self-care or like I'm kind of lumping all that together. I don't know if it necessarily belongs together, but I'm going to lump it together,
Yeah,
right? And that's kind of been one of the, I guess, the themes that runs through your shows is that idea of like being a creative person but also taking like care of yourself, right? Because if you don't take
yeah.
care of yourself, then you're not going to be very creative, you're going to be mopey around the house and you won't end up at parties making out with girls is what you're saying.
Yes, 100%. And this is something I learned from tipping the scale. Sorry, tipping the scales the other way of not taking care of myself. And this goes back to almost like selfishly getting something out of these 150 episodes, like having these meditation people on. And like, even at first, I'm like, oh, these are good, great messages to share with people. And then I walk out of an episode, and it's like, oh my God, I need to fucking put this all part of my life. And even one of my guests, Selena Rose, she's been on twice. She's been in the studio where Girth Radio, where we used to be at. And just recently, a month ago, she came back on the show. But in between those years, me and Selena kept in touch. And even over the pandemic, to kind of like for her to keep her meditation practices and being sharp for her clients and stuff like that, she was offering like these free sessions every Monday night. And you just join her Zoom. And I was doing it religiously and almost like in a way, like some days I'd be like, again, moping around. It's like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And then just showing up to those little like Zoom conversations and just taking in, I don't know, whether it's perspective, learning how to breathe properly. I always say to her, like, I'd never breathe properly unless she's around. She just reminds me about it. Like I didn't even know there's like a proper way to intake it. But and I
Women
just
love being
leave.
told they're breathtaking too, though.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Sammy, always
Yeah.
on fire. But yeah, and it's just I find like was doing that every Monday was started getting addicting where if I missed the Monday class, I would get in a drought. And I feel like that might also be unconsciously be a theme why I keep putting meditation people on my show, like the Shaolin monk as well and stuff like that. Because I feel like I am searching for some sort of inner peace that I don't have. And I could be fooling people because when they listen to the shows, they hear the best Sean, you know. But some days I'm not in a good mood and I just turn it on, you know, because I'm conscious of projecting good energy to other people, even when I'm not feeling that great, you know, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, on the other side of the coin, like maybe I have these people on because I need help myself, you know? And but I also get the feedback too, like when I post one of those episodes that makes me want to do more. Is somebody will hit me up and be like, "Yo, I really, really needed to hear that this week," or just them learning something. So I don't know. It's important, and I don't know. The show itself just seems very communal. Like it doesn't have a huge audience, but it's got this tight knit core, and of like I keep seeing the same people kind of pop up and share it and give me feedback. And I'm I like I mentioned, I'm working on making it grow a little further. But you know what? If it stays with this group, I'm still doing this for the rest of my life until I don't have a voice or I die. Like this is it. This is the Sean thing, man.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then how are you balancing then, like you said, you're not necessarily feeling that good. Like I had a friend who does radio for living. She's a radio DJ. And so one time I was hanging out with her in the studio and she had broken up with her boyfriend at the time. So of course
Mm.
she's down in the dumps, right? Like it just happened a couple of days ago and she's feeling terrible and stuff like this. But then she goes on the radio and she's like, "Oh, that was
Hey.
Smashing Pumpkins, right? I can't wait for that."
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And she's all excited and like Radiohead's got a new album. Wow, like you know what I mean? And then she gets off the mic and then she's like, "Oh, everything sucks. I'm never gonna find love again." And like, you know what I mean? So,
Yes, yes.
so how are you balancing then? Like you said, I guess the Sean being all up and being all excited and like hooray for everything versus being like vulnerable and like open and like maybe I don't really have the groove or I'm not really feeling it today. How do you balance that with all these like guests?
Yeah, so I feel like sometimes if you don't see an episode for a week, that means that means Sean's. I don't want to say this now because maybe one week coming up, I'm just gonna be like legitimately busy, and somebody's gonna hit me up and be like, "Yo, man, you all right?" Like
Yeah.
knocking on my door, like I haven't heard from you.
Yeah. Oh no.
Expecting me to find me like
Yeah.
just dead or something, but that's a little dark. Whatever, but but man, I feel like another special thing about the show, and I haven't thought about it till right now. Like some days where I do have somebody booked, and I never cancel when I'm feeling bad. I'll just like be like, okay, I'm gonna take a little breather, do some Selena Rose messages or meditations. Shout out to Selena again. But then I get into it and I realize the act of just doing the podcast is very, very, very healing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Whether like I just love good conversation, I love arts and entertainment, and doing the podcast, no matter what my problem is, will take my mind off of it, and I'll feel healed in a way. And even going into it, if I'm feeling bad and maybe I'll have second thoughts. Oh, maybe I should cancel today. I'm really down or whatever. When I finally do it, I'm like, oh, I'm glad I did that. And maybe like the little problems that I have in the back of my mind, you realize I don't know, there's just a bigger picture or like, I don't know what it is. It could be a bunch of things. It kind of makes me feel like I have some kind of purpose in this world in a way. And so another meditation thing I was listening to, almost like how your thoughts can get out of control,
Mm-hmm.
and it was Eckhart Tolle, who I listen to once in a while, and he was saying that every thought that comes to your head is not the reality. Like it's
Mm.
not. It's just these little entities, and like I don't. Some people can be in like a tug of war, like they say the devil and angel on their shoulder, or even if you have a self-deprecating talk or thought that just is totally mean and vicious to you and makes you like feel down. You got to remember that's like that may not be your reality. It's just this whatever thing that's going on in your head might got triggered from something, but
Mm-hmm.
you can believe you can trick yourself like falling into depression by believing things that aren't true. Just things kind of spiral in your head. So what he was talking about too, and this is something I've been thinking about, like when you do get something like very, very, very negative in your head, to just really like look at that from the third person instead of the first person, and deconstruct it in a way and be like, no, like that's not it. That's not me. That's
Yeah.
just a little fucking trip on the sidewalk right now, you know? It's like we're good type of thing. You don't dwell in, because people can live in that and everything, man.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes to see your own blind spots, right? Like when you're
Yeah.
driving, before you change lanes or something, you can go and you can look and make sure there's no other cars there. There's a way to actually check the blind spot, and then you safely navigate into that new lane, right? And you stay in your lane,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
But when it's like sometimes with you or like yourself, or you're dealing with yourself, or like if you've had a terrible interview, or something kind of like you said, something else is going on in your head, it can be hard sometimes to be like, you forget that like I'm good at this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It almost throws like the whole decade of me doing media out the window some
Mm-hmm.
days. It's like, oh man. But I don't know, the mind's interesting. And I feel like this is a common thing with creatives, whether they show it or not. And that's the reason why I kind of do the self-care episodes once in a while too. And or even sometimes the conversations get led that way when I'm an art with talking with an artist, and it's not like something I plan on doing. It just kind of comes through natural conversation. And I guess one of the special things about my show and the style I learned to do an interview, lots of people always tell me that I make them so comfortable that they forget they're on a microphone. And
That's nice, Sean.
yeah, I feel like people can, I don't know, open up in a way. And it's not like I'm purposely trying to do that for like evil, like, yo, like tell me all your secrets. It just turns into something. And like I mentioned, like the podcast's whole journey happened by accident, but I feel like it's almost meant to be. It's like with that aspect of it and part of my personality, it's I don't know, it's been an interesting journey and everything. And even like I gotta thank you for really putting me on, connecting me with like different publicists and stuff like that. And it's always cool, like, because I, again, like back to the negative voices in my head. Um, Sometimes I think, oh, my show's so small and this and that and that. And then I get these messages back from the PR people and their guests. Maybe they did CBC that day. Maybe they were like on breakfast television. Maybe they were on like all these mainstream things. And so often I get a little message back and they said, hey, my guest said you were the best one of the day. And I'm like, oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. That's
Like,
cool.
that's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And even another memory of me and you, when you did an episode with me, you co-hosted with we had Monroe Chambers on from Degrassi and Turbo Kid and stuff. I remember the publicist that day was like, hey, we booked your show to be last because you're at a bar and I know you're gonna be so laid back with him. He's doing all these fucking like television stuff, and that those type of medias and like radio, like live radio, it's so intense. But
Mm-hmm.
like the platform I do and the platform you do, it's just kind of pre-recorded and it's a very, very safe place. And I think people are kind of figuring that out. And I think they send people to me as like a little refresher in a way, like which is the biggest compliment like I've ever got doing the show from people in the industry. So yeah, just like I want to thank everybody who's been rocking with me and putting me on these bigger guests and yeah, it's been cool.
It's what you said before about like Strombo and Howard Stern, like that candid talk, right? Which you don't
Yeah.
usually get. A lot of times, it's like you'll see it too, like on late night stuff with like Jimmy Kimmel and like when Conan was on and stuff like that. It's like, was it fun working with George Clooney? Okay, when does the movie come out? Thanks for dropping by, and then you're done, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I know those shows and things like that are also set up just for jokes and those kind of things, and I get that, but there is a hunger and a desire for like real talk and candid talk, and where people can like this is what I'm
Hmm.
thinking about, or like, I made this movie because of these. I experienced this situation, or I know these people are suffering, and like, you know what I mean? Like, let's get into this stuff. Let's have some fun, and let's also get into this stuff.
Yeah, actually, something crazy was gonna come up, and it's not gonna happen anymore. I'm gonna give you the exclusive on this. I haven't talked to anybody
Yo,
about this,
drop it.
but you know how I did that episode with Commander X,
Mm-hmm.
the leader of Anonymous, and so again, that's wild. And again, from making people feel comfortable, I think he's only did a couple things, and they were all like mainstream, like television, radio, like maybe five other ones, and then Sean's show. For whatever reason they asked me, and so I'm like, oh, this is cool. And they gave me the list of all the people in the documentary of who I could talk to. They're like, oh, you can talk to the director, you can talk to Commander X's friend, or you can talk to Commander X. I'm like, I want to talk to Commander X. And they're like, okay, but you can't talk to him without his friend being there because he's hiding in Mexico, and he has to patch him in. And I'm glad his friend was there, Ian. He was a brilliant dude and fucking a great author, and like it was cool to meet him. But so they patch him in, and I'm thinking I get like a half hour or whatever. X, like, he was so used to like kind of like being doing the TV where they cut you off after like 3 minutes or whatever. He goes on a 3 hour tangent. I had to cut the episode into two parts. It was amazing. I just let him do his thing. And then at the end of the episode, we stopped the recording and we talked for another 40 minutes. And he was telling me how he's just like, he's like, oh, I love this platform. It's like you can just say what you want, right? And stuff like that. And he's like, right now, Julian Assange is in a lot of trouble. And if you want to talk about him, I'm going to come on again, and I'm going to get you some guests that are going to blow your mind. I'm like, okay, dude, okay. And then he's telling his friend, he's like, give him my email, um, and don't share this with everybody. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. And so I get this email. It's the sketchiest email looking email. Like I think he's just got this pirate, like off the grid email. It wasn't at Gmail. It was at something weird. I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, I'm getting hacked. This is my mind. I'm like, I'm going on the FBI watch list. So I hit him up. I'm like, thank you so much for doing that episodes, or those episodes. I just said, I'm like, excuse me. I'm like, these are some of the best recordings I ever had, and thank you. And he's like, yeah, like, keep in touch if you want to do the Julian shit. Like, let's do it. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll hit you up in like a month or so. Couple weeks go by, I get a message from his buddy Ian. Like it's like an email, and it's tagged all the PR people and stuff like that. And basically, long story short, why I talked to him, he was part of this documentary, and in the documentary, he hopped the Canadian border and the American border and went to Mexico. And the happy ending of the documentary is he found safe haven in Mexico, and the government gave him a green card or whatever. And actually, during my episode, X was telling me, he's like, oh, I'm not scared of the Mexican people, but he said, when I see an American, I get really, really nervous. And I didn't think about it when he said that to me. And yeah, 2 weeks later, apparently some Americans went over and captured him and brought him back to America because there's a bounty on him, like a
Oh.
huge bounty. And he was on trial right now for 10 years of hacking crimes, and he seems like he's completely fucked, and we're not doing an episode 3 anytime soon.
Okay.
But again, that why I told the story, it goes back to me unconsciously doing these interviews where making people feel so comfortable that they just want to be on the platform even though it's not a big platform. And to connect something else I said earlier, where I'm thinking about the next step or whatever. I had a spark in the past week where I feel like it's my duty to make it a bigger platform. Um, I have all the pieces of the puzzles. I have the bricks to build the house, but I haven't built the house. I'm still sitting in this shack, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's a cool shack. There's a lava lamp over there. You can smoke weed in here, whatever. But I feel like with the pieces I have, I'm not totally utilizing, and I've plateaued from pushing it to the next level. And that's where my mind's at. And whether that happens or not is up in the air. but that's my next step in drive to make something happen. And I'll tell you a little more details after the recording of my next step of plan, because I don't want to jinx it of putting it out there and
All
then
right, we'll
doesn't happen.
leave that for now. But I do want to like ask if this is all related to you making the switch. You initially, when we were recording, we used to record in a bar in downtown Toronto, at Pacific Junction Hotel bar. Moment of
Yeah.
silence for that place.
Yeah.
We used to
Shout
record.
outs to everybody. I love that place so much.
We used to record there and used to do audio. We all did audio only. But
Yeah.
now, as I said, that place went away. Unfortunately, it went to the big bar in the sky, and so now
Hmm.
you made the transition. I stayed with audio, but you made a transition and you went to video. And
Hmm.
is that part of like your kind of like I guess that first date mentality of making the guests feel good and feel comfortable and like that connection again?
A little bit, yeah. Call him A, call him B here. I feel like just I'm a videographer, and like the whole time I'm like, why haven't I been doing video with the show? And I find starting a YouTube channel in the year 2021 is a really difficult thing to do, especially since the tiny audience I have, their habits are to go on Spotify and iTunes to listen to me. So I've been posting videos, which is a lot of extra work, and they don't get a lot of hits, but I find the power in it is I can take clips of the videos and put them on Instagram, put them
Mm-hmm.
on Facebook. So in a way, it's the videos helping the advertising,
Mm-hmm.
but the YouTube channel of the full length episodes is kind of like a ghost town right now. But pushing forward, I don't even think like videos is needed, but I'm gonna keep doing it anyways, just because it helps so much with like sharing clips and stuff like that. And lots of people have been telling me I gotta start putting them on TikTok because the algorithm's been good, and just even like I noticed like tagging the right things in an Instagram post that it's been helping people find the show or like find interviews with people they're fans of. And like maybe you won't, like say I get a bigger guest, maybe you won't keep all the people who listen to, but there's always two or three or hit me up and they say, oh, I came for this person, but I like this style of interview, so now I'm listening to all these or binge watching the show, and then I cringe. I'm like, don't listen to episode 1. I don't know what I'm doing. Start at episode
Yeah.
79 or
Yeah.
something, like,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, there's a bit of power to like making the little clips, I notice. And because I guess that's the way everybody's consuming stuff. They're scrolling on their phones, and they pass by and they're like, oh, what's this, and yeah.
And so, where can people find you online then to like access the show? Then, like you said, you started a YouTube channel. You're on Spotify. Where can people find you online to?
Everywhere that you can listen to podcasts, the Creative Imbalance is there. So Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube, you name it. Um, I'm on all the social media things. There's a Facebook page. If you want to see the clips, Instagram, you'll always get the clips as well. Um, Twitter, and yeah, it's everywhere you can get it. I noticed one thing too. I was so stubborn about putting it. I forget what my original platform was, but I was just so stubborn of like trying to get everybody to get to this one place. And I realized if you can make your thing accessible to everyone, you might not even be able to track all your hits here and there. So I always at the beginning, like as I was building my name, um, I always hated the question of when a publicist would say, "Oh, how many listens you got?" I'm like, "Oh my god, I got to do so much work. I got to click around and
Mhm.
on 40 different sites." But now, I'm very proud of how I built the brand, where I don't get to ask that question anymore. They're just like, "Oh, this is Sean. We know this guy is. He's gonna. We'll send him this person, and he'll do a decent interview.
Mhm.
We hope." And and yeah, and yeah. So yeah, to say like I'm just everywhere that's convenient to you. And say you listen to something, you want to check out the show, and you got like some weird thing, like you're still on MySpace or something like that. If that, or and you want the show there, just hit me up, and I'm gonna put it there. I'm gonna just make it for everybody right now.
That's very nice. Sharing is caring. Is there an
Hmm.
episode or two that people should listen? You mentioned the Shaolin Monk. You mentioned Commander
Yeah,
X.
yeah. I think one of my
My
strongest
buddy
recording.
Strombo.
Yeah, yeah. There's so many special ones to me, but I think one of the few times this has happened when I chopped up an episode, it was the Commander X when I was making it into parts, and I didn't. I was so engulfed with the moment, I almost forgot like everything he said, and then so I made the first part. I'm like, this is gonna be like an hour to hour 20 minutes. I hit the little markers and I listened to it, and he landed on such like a haymaker strong point, and I remember just stopping it. I'm like, I think that's the best solid recording I've ever done. Like ever, like just as a a piece of podcast. I don't know whether you call it art or work or just that was like I felt like a bit of a masterpiece. But then I get hit up where that's my personal favorite. Lots of people like the more chill, candid conversations. Like you mentioned the George Strombo one, and that's hit a lot to people where it's just sometimes they haven't heard him this candid, and you hear how heartbroken he was by much music changing, and how he made the house of Strombo because he walked down the street and saw Queen Street and he got fucking pissed off, and he called his buddies like, we're doing a show in my living room, and just like things like that, and so many moments. And yeah, it's hard to pick my favorites, but yeah, those are the two that always stand out with people. And it depends what you're into. If you're into film, comedy, music, battle rap, beatboxing, pro wrestling, fucking meditation, like there's something that's special in its own way. Like and yeah, it's really hard to pick one because it depends on what you're in the mood for.
So I asked you that really packed question at the beginning of the episode, and there's one part you didn't ask, and that was partly my fault because I did pack the question. But I asked
Oh,
you
it's all
to,
good.
but I asked you to list a couple of your favorite metal bands, just so people get a flavor of you. And this is how we're gonna end it now. So
Yeah, awesome.
uh,
It's so
now I'm gonna
so do
go
you
make a
want
sandwich because I don't know anything about metal. So
yeah. Yeah. So do you want like of all time or what I'm listening to right now?
give me all time, just so people get a sense of who you
Okay.
are, right?
Yeah, yeah. And even like I feel like maybe I don't spin these guys as often as I did back in the day, but what really shaped me when I was a kid was Metallica. The first four albums kind of blew me away, and I love not listening to them for a while and then going back because I don't know, I feel like it's overplayed in my brain, but then when I pause and not like maybe take a year off from or two from a certain album, I go back, I'm like, oh, I remember why this hit type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so there's Metallica was always the big one. When I was an awkward preteen, this is the embarrassing shit, and it didn't stick with me, but I turned into like one of those corn Limp Biscuit kids where I had I had the corn shirt, the baggy fucking pants and stuff. But then that segued me into learning guitar, and I started getting into more technical stuff and learning about like true um, like metal bands and like all these Swedish like gothic crazy stuff, and even like American metalcore. And one things that blew me away, I watched this one block on I had an illegal satellite when I was a teenager, and I was getting all the American channels. And on one of the MTVs, they did this show called Headbangers Ball, which is there much
Mm-hmm.
loud. And early 2000s, the genre of metalcore popped up. And I saw this one block, and it was four videos. And one was Kill Switch Engage, My Last Serenade, um, In Flames, Cloud Connected was the song, Chimera, Down Again, and then there was one more band. Fuck, it's bugging me. But those three bands were in the block, and then I'm like, what is this music? And it was also mixed where they would scream the verses, and then it had this melodic like trains beautiful singing in the courses. And at the time there wasn't that mix. And I remember just getting a buzz off that. And yeah, throughout my life, Killswitch has been one of my biggest or one of my favorite bands, and all their little side projects of Times of Grace and with all the different singers they had, like their different side projects. Howard Jones, who's an amazing dude. He started doing Light the Torch a couple of years ago. He got burnt out from touring and then quit Killswitch. And then he's like, oh, I need to get back into music again. Now he's in this other band. It's awesome. But yeah, so it went from traditional metal to all the crazy rap shit where it's like Korn, Limp Bizkit, Rage Against the Machine to metalcore. And now current Sean loves, there's a kind of like a throwback to like the old with a mix of the new. And there's bands like Power Trip and Creeping Death and yeah, tons of stuff like that. And yeah, just it's all over the place. I can talk to about metal for like 4 hours, but I'm really trying to like compress it for you, Sammy. And I know you're totally lost right now.
Yeah.
But I think I should leave it at that.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sean. So congratulations on 150 episodes. That is a nice milestone. If I don't know if we can still do high fives during COVID or not, but that is
I'm down.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like I miss you, and we definitely got to go for a patio beer or something like that. And you're gonna give me a high five, even if it kills me and you at the same time. Okay. That's how I want to go out, with positivity, you know.
There you go. That's a positive note right there. We can leave it right there. But we covered quite a bit that you have 150 episodes. The show's called The Creative Imbalance, and it has just the craziest collection of creative individuals, including yourself, who hosts it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so. Facts, man. And yeah, before we go to, I want to thank you for everything, man. You were one of these people who kept me motivated during times, and I feel like there's always some key person in my life every couple of years that helps me push the show forward. And just you allowing me to record in that space of Pacific Junction and Girth Radio, and like on this episode we just slightly mentioned it, but really like that place was so special, and just the vibe of everything. And I think about it too, and it's like those couple of years were some of the best times of my life, man. Like honestly, it was like you see the show Cheers, and it's the song Everybody Knows Your Name. It was like that, but better. Mm-hmm. Okay, like I'd walk in there, it's just beautiful women. I still keep in touch with all the bartenders too. Mm-hmm. I go in, it's all hugs. Emery's giving me a 40 of Corona, which is on the house. And then I'm recording a show, and I'm talking to like some of my heroes. Like I'm sitting across Ed the Sock, I'm getting hammered, and then the tab's taken care of. I'm doing like, it was the most beautiful way to like progress at a craft. And I don't think I'm ever going to have that experience again. And it was such a special time of my life, and I thank you so much for allowing me in those doors, Sammy. You're the king. That's why I call you the king. Even in my phone, I was trying to look for Sammy, and I couldn't find it because it was under the K section. It's King Sammy.
Thank you, Sean. Those are nice words. But I just wanted to say too, like because we were in a bar setting, and which is such an unusual setting for when you start a podcast or when you host a podcast, it allowed us to experiment. Right? Like the fact that the guests could get drinks. I know one of my guests, you were saying before, sometimes you feel like you want to like cancel the episode, or you're not really feeling that well. I know one of my guests, she had like a rough day, and she came in and she saw the bar and people were having fun, and there was like music and everything, and it just lifted her spirit. Like I hadn't done anything yet, right? She just got in the place.
Yeah, right? there was an energy to it. And I remember doing an episode right after my lady of 6 years broke up with me. It was the week of, and I was destroyed. And I forget. Oh yeah, I guess it was like some comic book dude. And I remember walking in, and again the vibe just shifted me, and just being around people who, it was like a community that was so loving. Whether you're working at the bar or like doing shows or whatever, it was so healing. And I used to always call it my sanctuary. I actually recorded it on Sunday, and sometimes I'd be like, oh, I'm going to church, I'm going to the bar. It was freaking awesome. And even I still like recently it was 1 month ago, somebody posted on Twitter. And right now, this guy, Bobby Lashley, he's the WWE champion.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a show at the Phoenix, an indie show before he was fully signed. And I got to interview him and all his gang of wrestlers around there. And they had a night at the Pacific Junction Hotel.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And somebody I didn't even follow them, but they were like there that night. And remember the how weird the menu was at that bar?
Yeah.
Like there'd be like crickets. Apparently, like Bobby Lashley, he saw crickets. He's like ordered everybody crickets, and everybody was eating crickets. And somebody retweeted a photo with him in the WE Championship in like a stadium of like 30,000 people, like pyro and everything. He's like, every time I see Lashley, all I think about us is like eating crickets on King Street. And I hit the person up. I'm like, oh my God, that was my show. That was awesome. And it's just like, there's so many little special moments there. And I can go on and on with like different guests from like Ed the Sock and like the band Anvil I had in there. Oh my God. Like, it's beautiful. And one thing that stands out in my mind too is when you had Sam Roberts in there.
Oh yeah.
He had to play an arena and he didn't want to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Like his publicist was like trying to pull him out the door. And he's just like kind of sitting at tables talking to all the fans. And you can just see her rolling her eyes. It's like, oh my fucking God, come on, Sam, let's go. And I remember he was right about to go out the door. Somebody shakes his hand and they were like, it's my birthday today. And Sam's like, it's your birthday? Oh, and sits at the table. And this publicist is like, oh God. Again, it's the bar, it's the vibes, it's beauty, man.
Yeah.
It's beauty.
Well, it's
you
what
can't replicate that.
Yeah, it's what you're saying before, where like Sam Roberts does a lot of like CBC, Q, he does a whole bunch of shows. And then he came here and he's like, I said to him, do you want a beer? He's like, what? Like the fact he's like, all I gotta do is ask, like all I gotta do is talk about the album that I wrote and recorded and then have a beer for like 10, 15, 20 minutes. I'm like, yeah, all right, let's do this. Right?
Yeah. Or at the end of the night, the guests will be like I'll order some food and stuff. And they're like, oh, how much? It's like, you don't have to pay anything. You just go. I'm like really? Like, we ate a lot. I'm like, I know, it's just part of the thing, you know. It was, and yeah, I guess that's another reason why people want to keep coming back.
Yeah. All right. So we'll end it there, Sean. But thank you and congratulations on 150 episodes. That is an amazing accomplishment. And like, to see where you've gone, kind of evolved, to listen to your style, to listen to your episodes, it's like you can see the growth, right? Like, you know what I mean? It's like the classic thing of like when you have a kid and you measure them against that door frame in the kitchen or something, right? And you put the little marks and like, you know, you're like this tall at like 16, and then like by the time you're like 20, you're like 6 feet or whatever. Like you can do the little marks and you can kind of see the growth. And that's definitely over the 150 episodes. Anybody who's been with you on this journey, as you said, the small community, knows like you can see the marks in the kitchen door frame.
Sammy, that warmed my heart. And yeah, thanks. You've definitely been around the journey and you're going to still be around the journey. And yeah, thanks for just noticing that, acknowledging it, and being a mentor. And you're, like you said, you're making the marks. You're my pod father, man. The pod father. Right. Officially. I'm changing your name in my phone from King Sammy to pod father.
All right. Thanks, Sean. Later.
Yeah, thank you, Sammy.
Yes. I'm so going to start using the phrase, I got that Josh Groban fire in my conversations now. I am not Tony Robbins. I am Sammy, and that was Sean, who hosts the Creative Imbalance podcast. Your homework for this episode is to subscribe to Sean's podcast, and please and thank you, subscribe to mine, My Summer Lair. Because just imagine how much better your life would be if you subscribe to both podcasts. All this glorious sarcasm, witty insights, and seriously serious joy delivered right to your front door. Or whatever is the digital equivalent of your front door. Like, with a pitch like that, how could you not want to subscribe? You get all that for one simple click? Yo, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me in a busy podcast world. Josh Groban fire, yo.